everyone. Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I'm Rainbow.
And today we're reading part 2, the second and final part of our article, A Limit of Your Kindness. This is about Steve, a very nice man who's been helping out a homeless man he saw living by the train station. He gave him some change, he bought him some food, and when we finished yesterday, Steve was curious. He wanted to know how this homeless man ended up being homeless, how he ended up sleeping on the street. Did he have some bad luck in his life? What happened? So that'll be interesting. Have you ever reached a limit of your kindness? Because it's okay to be kind, but if you feel that it's starting to hurt you or the other person is sort of using your kindness, that can be difficult.
Yes, I definitely have. So I used to have some friends who had a lot of questions that they often would like to ask. So every time we went out, they would say, oh, I have so many things to ask you. Now, at first it's okay, right? So after a long time, you realize that's the only reason they want to talk to you is because they have something to ask. But it's not really like you're on the same level where you're sharing something about your life. So then after the friend leaves the country for a while and comes back and says, I want to see you again, this is when I didn't respond. Because I thought, I think that the information that you want to share with me is probably the same as our relationship before. So that was when I realized that I had reached a limit. We never argued or anything like that, but it didn't feel like we were on the same level or connecting at the same page.
Right. So of course, if they had a problem, you were always there for them, but you felt that if you had a problem, they wouldn't be that interested in helping you.
Or they wouldn't be able to.
Or they wouldn't be able
provide
to.
some advice.
Interesting. So you think they were taking a lot from the relationship, but not really giving a lot. So why continue it? That's an interesting situation, and we're going to have another one in our article. So let's start reading part 2 of A Limit of Your Kindness.
The homeless man smiled and said,
By showing love, I always helped others no matter what.
Steve asked,
Do you regret that?
The man answered,
No, but my soul hurts. None of those people helped me when I was in need.
Then he said,
Build your own house and invite people in for shelter. Don't give them your bricks while you're building.
All right, A Limit of Your Kindness, Part 2. Steve just asked the man, or was curious to know, how the homeless man became homeless, right? So let's read on and see if we can get an answer to that question. And the article for today begins, The homeless man smiled and said, By showing love, I always helped others no matter what. Wow, that's an interesting answer to the question, how did you end up homeless? You might think, oh, I lost my job and my wife left me, or, you know, some story filled with bad luck and bad events, things like that. But no, the man answers, I became homeless by showing love or by being very, very kind. And he explains, I always helped others no matter what. So he would literally give them the shirt he was wearing if they didn't have a shirt. And of course, if you can do that, that's great. But if you do it so much that it hurts you, that's when you can get in trouble. And I guess that's what happened to this homeless man. He was too kind.
Steve asked, do you regret that? The man answered, no, but my soul hurts. Oh, this is very sad. So he did a lot of kind things for other people, and he was happy that he was able to do that. But you know what happens when you don't get something in return? You might think it's okay, but inside your heart, your soul is feeling very sad.
And he probably feels very disappointed that the
and
people
hurt.
he was kind to weren't kind to him.
Exactly.
So he's filled maybe with some regrets about being so kind.
And to regret something means I'm sorry that I did that and I wish I didn't do that. Or I wish that things had gone differently. Regret is a heavy feeling when something you did not give the same result you thought, and you thought, I should have done something else. So that's looking back on the past and feeling a sadness because of how things turned out. And regret is something that can follow a person throughout their life for a very long time and keep them in this very heavy and sad place.
Yeah, it's almost like you wish you had a time machine and you could go back in time and do things differently. Don't do that, or do something else, because now it's too late, but you have those feelings. You regret the actions or the mistakes or the things you said, whatever that happened in the past that caused hurt or pain to you or other people. All right, back to the article. The man says, none of those people helped me when I was in need. You see, he was very kind and very generous. He helped everyone around him when they were in need, when they needed things, or when they were in trouble, but none of those people helped me when I was in need. Kind of like your friend who was always getting advice and help from you, but you didn't think that they would give that advice or help back when you were in need. And when you're in need, it's kind of like being in trouble. You need help of some kind. Not a small thing. It's probably kind of a big problem in your life. You can't solve it or fix it or find an answer on your own, so you would need help. You are in need. And we often talk about charities that help people in need, homeless people, poor people, kids who are sick and need special treatment in hospitals. All sorts of people in society can be in need, can need a little bit of extra or maybe a lot of extra help because they have problems they can't fix just alone, just by themselves.
Then he said, build your own house and invite people in for shelter.
Okay.
Don't give them your bricks while you're building. Oh, he's really wise. So we're talking about somebody who's building a house, and we need bricks to build a house. So if you're building and you say, oh, Mike needs a brick, let me give it to him. I'm not going to have a house after a while if I keep giving my bricks to Mike. So the important lesson is that I have to actually build a real house first, and then I can invite those people, and then I can help them. I have to have enough.
Interesting. So he's using the story of building a house to explain how being too kind can really hurt you in your own life. But yes, using the story of building a house makes it easy to understand, because of course we all understand that building a house is a difficult thing. It takes time and money, and it has to be finished. You don't want to have a house with only 3 walls or no roof, because the rain will come in. When we build something, we're basically making something out of different pieces and different parts. You're not sort of just creating it by magic. You're not cooking it in a kitchen. You're taking pieces of machinery or pieces of material. You're putting them together to create something. We build houses out of bricks and wood and glass and steel. You'd build a computer by getting all the different parts and putting it into a case, making sure it all works. And of course, we can also build something a little bit more fun. You might build a model or build something like that just for your own fun, taking the pieces and sticking them together. But when we're talking about a house, in that case, we are building our shelter.
And a shelter is a place where you can hide from the cold and the rain. It protects you. So when we think about that, we often think of a place with a roof over your head and a place you can hide when it's cold and raining outside, and a place where you can feel warm and safe. So it's inside of the house that we can find shelter and not outside. So we need a house first before we can get that shelter and that safety, and we need bricks to build that house.
That's right. Bricks are basically small rectangular stones that we make. You can take some rock and cut it into a shape, or you can actually just use clay that becomes very hard after you cook it. And then we take those things, they're often gray or red or some color like that, and start putting them together in a special way. And then you can build a wall, and then you can build a house, you can build a building. But the little pieces that you use to make the walls, those little pieces are bricks, and they fit together very well and can prove to be very strong. But make sure you have all the bricks you need to build your own house, because otherwise you'll just have half of a house. And that's no good.
Shelter.
That's no good for anyone. All right, let's take a break and we'll be back.
If you do, you'll just have an empty lot and no house. Also, you'll be looking for bricks yourself.
Steve understood and thanked the homeless man for his advice.
Welcome back. So we're listening to the homeless man give advice to Steve on how to be kind, but not be too kind so you end up hurting yourself. He's using the story of building a house. It's great to build a house, but make sure that your house is finished before you start giving those bricks that you use to build the house, before you start giving them away. If you give away all the bricks, you'll have half a house, and that won't be good for you.
No. If you do, you'll just have an empty lot and no house.
No house, even worse.
No house, no shelter. Also, you'll be looking for bricks yourself.
Interesting. Okay. I've often heard this advice told, if someone asks to borrow money, if it's a friend especially, give them money, but don't expect it to come back. Don't expect it to be the money that you now need next week to buy food or something, because if they don't pay you back, you could lose a friend, lose your money, and all that kind of thing. So make sure you're okay before you become very kind and very generous. Otherwise, you could have an empty lot, an empty stomach, and an empty life with no friends.
And if something is empty, that means there's nothing inside. It is totally blank. If your bank account is empty, it says 0. If your stomach is empty, you haven't had anything to eat all day. And if your brain is empty, like, I forgot everything that I need for today's test. I don't remember anything, and I would be worried about an empty brain if I was a student. But in general, when things are empty, we gotta put things in there for ourselves first. It's not a good place to be in, because then you'll be the person who's needing and you won't have enough to give.
That's right. And in the story there, the man was talking about an empty lot. Well, when we're building a house or building a building, we need land, right? You can't just build a building in the sky. It needs to be on land. And when we're talking about a piece of land that you can buy and you can sell, you can build on, you can use in different ways, well, an empty piece of land would be a lot. So before you start building, you have to buy the land. Hopefully there's nothing there. There's nothing to knock down or take away. It's just an empty piece of land that is being bought or sold for buildings or for whatever. We would call that a lot. All right, back to the article. It says, Steve understood and thanked the homeless man for his advice. So Steve's listening to this man, his advice. He's learning from his experience and his wisdom. Now Steve understands, and he's going to remember this advice because it's good advice.
And advice is what you give to somebody or you get to somebody in need. So it could be how to do something. It could be let me tell you my own experience. And when you get advice from somebody, it's when you need help in your life because you don't know what to do. And somebody gives you a piece of advice. That means they say something to you that really helps you out. Advice is important in life because we often need to hear somebody else talk about it to have another perspective. Okay, so we are at the end of the article, and I hope that you received some very good advice about how to make sure that you are full, that you are okay, before you can really truly help others.
That's true. Being kind is a wonderful thing to do, but don't be so kind that you end up in trouble and you need help from other people. Take care of yourselves and try to take care of other people too. That's the best way to be if you can. But we'll see you back here very soon. Until then, be well and bye-bye.
Bye.
The homeless man smiled and said,
By showing love, I always helped others no matter what.
Steve asked.
Do you regret that?
The man answered,
No, but my soul hurts. None of those people helped me when I was in need.
Then he said,
Build your own house and invite people in for shelter. Don't give them your bricks while you're building. If you do, you'll just have an empty lot and no house. Also, you'll be looking for bricks yourself.
Steve understood and thanked the homeless man for his advice.
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 regret 动词后悔。Mike regrets not studying harder at school. Mike 后悔在学校时没有更加努力念书。下一个单字 build 动词建造搭建，它的三态是 build, built, built. Mr. Stone is building his new house by the lake. Stone 先生正在湖边建造他的新房子。下一个单字 brick 名词砖块。The house is made of bricks. 这间房子是用砖块建造的。最后一个单字 empty 形容词空的。It's an empty classroom. There's no one inside. 这是一间空教室，里面没有人。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 no matter what 不管怎么样，这是一个副词片语，它可以放在句首或者是句尾。我们来看看这个例句 No matter what, I trust you. 不管怎么样，我都信任你。下一个文法 none of 加上名词，没有任何什么东西。None 是代名词，表示没有任何人事物的意思。我们来看看这个例句 The teacher was very angry because none of the students did homework. 老师非常生气，因为没有任何一位学生有写作业。最后一个文法 invite somebody in 邀请某人进来。Invite 指的是邀请。我们来看看这个例句Ryan opened the door and invited the salesperson in. Ryan 打开门并邀请那位推销员进去。以上就是这一课的重点单词跟文法，我们下一课再见喽，拜拜。
Hi, I'm Josh.
I'm Kiki.
Today we're going to be playing Guess the Bear. We have 3 cards with words or phrases on them, and we got to guess what they are because they've been replaced by the word bear. We've got 1 minute to do it. You ready?
Okay.
All right, start that timer now. Verb, 1 word. Ancient people used to bear houses out of mud. The city is bearing new apartments in my neighborhood.
Construct.
Ooh, very close.
Build.
I think that's right. Okay. You got it. Adjective, 1 word. My stomach growled because it was bare. The container was bare when I put it in the dishwasher.
Empty.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I mean, it also sounds like, because I mean, bear can be empty, but yeah, empty. Phrase, 3 words. Bear, 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 I'll be there to support you. He said he would always love her, bear, bear, bear.
I'll always be there to support you.
You want to hear it again?
Yeah, okay.
Phrase, 3 words. Bear, 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 I will be there to support you. He said he would always love her, bear, bear, bear.
Don't be.
Nah, that was no matter what. So no matter what, I'll be there to support you. He said he would always love her, no matter what.
Okay.
So that's
that
2 out of
last one
3.
was tricky. Okay, your turn.
Done.
Start the clock.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Noun, 1 word. The front of the house is made of bears. He grew up in a red bear house.
1 more time, please.
The front of the house is made of bears.
Yeah.
He grew up in a red bear house.
Yeah, I don't know.
Verb, one word. She tries to live her life without bearing anything. I bear yelling at you. I'm really sorry.
I stopped.
No.
Yep.
Nope, no. Okay, next one. John opened the door and bared me bear. The host bared her guests bear for tea and cake.
Greeted them. Greeted
Close.
those.
Similar.
Greet. I don't know.
John opened the door and
I don't know.
Okay, these were really hard.
Yeah.
The phrase, invite in. John opened the door and invited me in. The host invited her guests in for tea and cake. Then, noun was brick. The front of the house is made of bricks. He grew up in a red brick house. And the verb was regret. She tries to live her life without regretting anything. I regret yelling at you. I'm really sorry. It was regret.
I regret not getting any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.